Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE SmackDown every Saturday night, but tonight is a special night because we have Bad Blood on the pay-per-view. And we're experimenting, doing something a little bit different here, doing a watch party for the main event. My name's John Tindell. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
We are doing something new here, and it's a lot of fun. John, don't bury the lead. It's been a great pay-per-view so far, great premium live event. The main event has started. Jacob Fatu is right now going after Roman Reigns. What do you think of how Roman looks? This is his first match since WrestleMania.
Dom, we don't ever bury the lead.
No.
The lead's always the main event and what's happening at the moment.
Yep.
And I have to say, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Jacob Fatu is a monster.
Roman Reigns looks like he's in better shape. He's more chiseled, at least in his upper body, than when we saw him last. Or maybe I just, absence makes the heart grow fonder. The guy comes back, you're like, oh, he's in great shape. But Roman does look like he's in better shape in the upper body, at least.
Yeah.
A little more chiseled.
When the guys do the big layoffs, they always come back a little bigger. I wonder why that is.
They probably get a chance to rest and just work out rather than just, get in planes and cars all the time.
Yes. We have a video talking about that with Jay Cargill mentioning that the travel is really brutal for the WWE.
Yes. So look for us on the YouTube channel there. Don't bury the lead, a wrestling channel on YouTube.
Yes.
Subscribe and find that in our archives. Cody's getting a huge cheer now. Part of it is because he's in Atlanta, his hometown. Do you think that Cody is holding his own in what is basically a bloodline storyline right here? Like he's sort of the he's the fourth wheel here, who's really weird.
He looks a lot different than everyone, right?
He looks different than anyone.
He almost is wearing cartoonish like gear with like the bright gold and the red and the white.
Which is a strange thing to say because the other guys are dressed like they're, primitive islanders from 1,000 years ago.
Yes.
when they're all very modern people in a very Western country right now.
Yes.
It's pro wrestling.
It is. Oh, it's still pro wrestling. Yeah, I do have to say, it's cool that he looks a lot different. I like that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And you could see that they're all associated with the bloodline, the other people that are facing here. I'm wondering if we're on the same cadence here, Dom. Are you seeing
Cody Rhodes just got thrown to the outside?
Yeah.
Solo Sikoa just followed him out to the floor and just grabbed him up around the collar.
Perfect. We are completely synced. Beautiful. I was worried we wouldn't.
And a side slam, Uranagi onto the apron, finger in the air. Roman Reigns finally back to his feet in the corner. He was really selling his first beatdown in the ring there, Roman Reigns. Now they're setting this up that Cody's trying to make the hot tag. Oh, this is brilliant. Like Solo stepping on his hand. Solo's so good as a heel.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's so good as this. A couple of minutes ago, he was yelling to the crowd, "Who's the real tribal chief?" And you could hear a few chants go up, "Not you."
Yes.
The crowd in Atlanta is bringing it. They've had a good time. They got a Bill Goldberg sighting earlier that we'll talk about.
Goldberg got the big pop.
Right, big pop for Goldberg. Goldberg chants his music. Some other guys from the old Georgia Championship Wrestling and NWA days that was popular in Atlanta. Arn Anderson's there. Tully Blanchard's there.
And hello, if you're just joining us here, we're doing a watch party where we will be talking about the pay-per-view as it's happening. I've seen other people do this, and we decided to steal their idea. So thanks for joining.
I've seen ESPN do this for the college football championship, where we're not going to be showing you the actual footage from Peacock because then YouTube will not like us.
No,
But
they
if you're
won't.
watching the premium live event right now, it's basically like having a couple of extra announcers in John and myself here. Cody Rhodes about to be double teamed here. This is unusual. The undisputed WWE champion is the guy taking the beat down and working from underneath in this thing.
Right, he's supposed to be the monster, and he's just getting killed.
Like he's such a good babyface in that underdog role, even though he's got the belt. I'm surprised he's been able to maintain that. A little bit surprised.
Yeah,
Cody Rhodes is still hot as the underdog babyface.
That he could be the underdog babyface for what is this now? Several months. I mean, almost half a year. We're heading on.
Yep,
probably about 6 months.
Yeah, it was first weekend of April. He won the belt. It's now first weekend of October.
And he's working a lot. He wrestles a lot. It's not like he's one of these part-time champs.
No, he's done some house show tours with them of Europe and Japan, and he has wrestled a few times on TV, whether it's for the title or not. People are not, he's not overexposed for most of the crowd so far. Jacob Fatu just doing the monster stuff. They're really milking this that they don't want much of a confrontation between Roman and the rest of the Bloodline guys until later. So Cody's going to be in this match a long time. Roman's asking for the tag now. He's kind of berating Cody, who's
It's crazy to see Roman as the hot tag babyface guy now, right? After years of being
tag coming to Solo, but Solo's not in yet. There was a blind tag. Okay, now here comes the double team. Does Roman know how to be the hot tag guy? He's like standing straight up, motionless almost, just yelling at people.
Yeah, I guess he can't be too desperate and crazy
no,
he's the hot tag guy.
He's the OTC still.
Yeah.
Everybody's in character here.
Oh,
great double team charges into the corner on Cody. He's seated in the corner there. Jacob Fatu got whipped into him, and then Solo followed him in.
That's a great, simple spot, right?
Right. It's a fantastic double team. It just led to a 2 count by Jacob Fatu. Cody kicked out of it. Now they're going back to that kind of nerve hold there that the Haku used to do.
Yeah, it's really one of these things where the double team is super easy to hit like that.
Yep.
Like, it's not difficult, but it looks brutal at the speed that they're able to like hit the corner in.
Yes, these guys work fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like they may be kind of deliberate and slowed down at the beginning of the match, but when they engage, everything is full speed.
Yeah.
These guys are all full speed wrestlers. No, Roman dropped out. Roman got pulled off the apron by Jacob Fatu just as Cody was going to hit the hot tag there. I wonder if Cody thinks Roman just big leagued them on that.
Yeah, that looks like he dropped down. Interesting.
It does. We're about 15 minutes into the match here. Now, from our angle on TV, we couldn't see Jacob Fatu sweep the leg. It just looked like Roman bailed on Cody. I only knew it was that's the spot they were going for, because once they went to the roving camera on the floor, you could see Jacob Fatu there. I wonder if there was a timing miss there and Roman just had to drop down.
Oh, you think it might have been like a little bit of a botch?
Maybe Jacob didn't quite get there early enough and Roman just had to drop. I couldn't see it. I did not see the leg sweep on my camera angle watching the Peacock stream. And
kudos to the WWE production team if that's the plan. Like if they didn't catch it on camera, because it didn't. It wasn't super obvious.
Now Roman is still out on the floor. This is like John Cena's return, like at the end of 2022, where he would take one shot and be down for 5 minutes next to the barricade.
Oh, that is the old trope, right? When they need to like kill some time down there, and they like sell like crazy, and they're just down there laying there dead.
Cody's fighting 2-on-1. He's looking for the corner, and there's no Roman.
Uh-oh.
Roman's by the steps now. He's pounding on the steps.
It is pretty I think they're doing a good job milking this up, because it's like, oh, he took one shot and he's dead.
Yeah. Now he's ready. Now he's there. Now he's there, and nobody's going to pull him off, because Solo's in the opposite corner waiting for the hot tag from Jacob. Here it comes. Double tags. Here we go. OTC, NTC.
Bam. Bam.
Oh, big reversal on the Irish whip. I know you love Irish whips, John. Big boot there off the ropes. You don't see that a lot from Roman.
Hogan would be proud.
Right.
Firing the crowd up, doing some punches, flexing, and then doing a big boot.
Roman Reigns is back in babyface mode.
Oh, yeah.
He's working the crowd like a babyface after years of working the crowd like a heel.
I wonder if it's refreshing for him, too. Like, just getting booed night in and night out and night in, night out. Like, finally get a couple of cheers.
Yeah, organic cheers, too. Like, he's not being rammed down people's throats. Like, people are genuinely happy to see him. He's setting up for a Superman punch here. No, look at that. Solo catches him and goes for the spike. Miss. Crucifix pinning combination. Very nimble by Roman. Superman punch. Very nimble there by Roman. Great sequence. Arrogant cover. Solo kicks out. But very nimble. That's not something I've seen from Roman before. That slide under the spike and hit a crucifix.
No, that's a first.
And it was well executed too. Like, this was not a botched crucifix where the guy's shoulders are not on the ground. Cough SummerSlam. Cough. I mean, this was perfect placement. Solo was definitely pinned there. 2.5. Roman playing to the crowd, getting the cheers. He's almost doing the Hogan now, pointing to each side.
Yeah, Roman
Hogan. It's Rogan.
I mixed up Roman and Hogan and called him Rogan. Roman is really way over here and beaten clearing house.
Just walked into a super kick and then a double super kick. My goodness, Jacob Fatu with that springing up to the top rope moonsault. And now Solo with the top turn splash. Cody Rhodes saves. It did not look like Roman was going to kick out there. Jacob and Cody to the floor now near the announce table. Now the announce table is going to get hit. They've managed to avoid the announce table all night. I mean, they've teased using it, but no one's used it. Here goes Cody. Now, you can tell them to use it when somebody clears off all the electronics.
Yeah, and where's the Prime?
The Prime hydration station. Jacob Fatu through the barricade there as Cody sidesteps the charge. They're focusing on Cody and Jacob on the floor for a good minute. They're not doing anything on Solo and Roman. They're both just lying on their backs in the ring right now. They're being told to just, hey, kill some time in the ring, fellas. The real action is outside. Crossroads on the floor.
This is pretty crazy that Jacob Fatu's in this position so quickly. Like coming from MLW to main eventing a pay-per-view with Roman Reigns.
Main eventing a premium live event. Oh, Jacob Fatu has now been twice kicked under the chin. He's now sprawled out on the announce table. Cody's wondering what to do. Does he help Roman? Does he try to take out Jacob Fatu permanently? What does he do? There goes Cody climbing second turnbuckle, top turnbuckle, foot on the post, double feet on the post. Points to Roman. This is for you, and splashes Jacob Fatu through the table,
Ooh,
through the announce table.
that looks goofy. I'm gonna see the replay.
That looked kind of well done. The problem with the splashes on these tables is there's no place for you to land with your knees and elbows first. You really do have to hit the guy with your midsection to midsection.
Okay, no, it looked good. I thought it looked like he almost was about to overshoot it.
Looked like
Nah.
he undershot it a
Yeah.
little, but that's better than overshooting.
Yeah.
You overshoot, you wind up landing knees first on the guy. Splashes work best in the ring because the guy delivering the splash hits with his knees and elbows and almost doesn't even touch the guy prone on the mat if it's perfectly placed. Now we're finally back in the ring here. Guys on their knees trading punches. We're getting cheer boos, almost yeah boos like LA Knight for the trading strikes here. It's amazing how they get stronger as they keep punching each other in the head.
Right.
Not weaker, stronger. Now we've graduated to kicks and Superman punches.
There it is.
Now a baby-facing Roman Reigns. Ooh, the crowd loves it. Oh, Tamatonga and Tongaloa at ringside. Solo Sikoa with the spear off of the distraction. Roman kicks on his own. There has been no ref bump. I know I just jinxed it. And Roman kicked out on his own here. That's something that a babyface Roman Reigns never happened, right? Roman always got saved when he was a heel. This time he had a kick out on his own after he was ganged up on. Solo Sikoa shouting at him, and the mic is picking it up, saying, "You lied to me. You lied to me." As he grabs Roman by the hair. "You said I was next in line. You lied to me." Solo feels betrayed by Roman coming back and trying to brush him aside. Oh, who's the guy in the bandana? Is that Jimmy Uso or Jey Uso? Who's back? Is that Jimmy? It's got to be Jimmy. Jimmy
Super
Uso
kicks.
is back. Solo Sikoa kicked him out of the bloodline. Spear by Roman. Cover. 3 count. A clean 3 count. About a 25-minute match here. Jimmy Uso in the hoodie and bandana super kicks Tongaloa and Tamatonga on the outside, then reveals himself to Solo Sikoa, who is now totally distracted. I love it. They're giving you the replay now on Peacock. It's Jimmy Uso.
I wonder if we're going to have a little bit more here with the exchange between Roman and Jimmy. Like, will he take him back or not? That sort of thing.
One well-placed spear is all it took. Now Roman's looking at Jimmy. Roman sitting up in the ring now to one knee, to both feet, stared down with Jimmy. Jimmy's trying to say, like, I'm back with you here. I'm on your side. Oh, big hug between Roman and Jimmy. I wonder what Jey Uso's going to say about that. He's the current Intercontinental Champion, wrestling mostly on Raw. There has not been a Cody Rhodes or Jacob Fatu sighting since that splash to the announce table. So this is just the moment between Roman kind of putting some of the original Bloodline back together. Is there enough time to get this ready for Survivor Series? 4 weeks to Crown Jewel, 4 more weeks to Survivor Series. Is there enough time? Tell us in the chat. Tell us in the comments if you're watching this on recording. Now Cody Rhodes is back in the ring with his belt, staring across the ring diagonally at Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's
4
see
weeks.
if Cody shakes hands here with his partner. They were victorious. Roman is nodding to him. Eight weeks to Survivor Series. Are they going to build Roman, Jimmy, Jay, and Cody versus Bloodline 2.0? No handshake, no nothing. Roman nodding and acknowledging Cody, but he and Jimmy climb through the ropes. And it's just Cody in the ring by himself here. So Roman also was out here without the wise man, Paul Heyman.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, wait a minute. The Tongas attack Cody Rhodes in the ring. Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. Here comes Solo Sikoa. I wonder if Jacob Fatu's coming back. Here comes Jacob Fatu. It looks like Jimmy Uso's trying to talk him back into getting back into the ring. There they go, Jimmy and Roman. Here they go, Cody Rhodes.
They clean house. Now they're all
They've cleaned
together.
house. Now they've technically saved Cody Rhodes from a beatdown, but what is it? Just them getting a hold of the Bloodline again, or just actually saving Cody? Jimmy wanted him to save Cody. Roman reaches for the belt, which had been just prone there near the Prime logo. A staggering punch-drunk Cody Rhodes.
Tom, we gotta chat here. They'll be pushing the time scale for reunification of the OG Bloodline.
I think so. Now, will they be able to do it by Survivor Series? Thank you. I just said, if you're in the chat, tell us in the chat, what do you think? Thank you to whoever chimed in. Do you think they have enough time here? It's 8 weeks. Yeah, they'll be pushing the time scale. Uh-oh, what is this? What's going on?
The Rock?
Lightning bolts. Is this The Rock?
Yeah, baby. Oh, I'm gonna have to change my title if it's The Rock.
The Rock has a belt. Why? Why does The Rock have a belt? Is The Rock involved in Survivor Series?
Wow, The Rock, baby.
Is the final boss going to be involved in Survivor Series? The Rock is just staring at the 3 baby faces in the ring. Last time we saw The Rock, he was telling Cody Rhodes that they had some unfinished business, the 2 of them. Now he's just staring at Cody Rhodes in the ring, and to Cody's left, as they both stare back up the entranceway, it's Roman Reigns with Jimmy Uso right behind Roman. What belt does The Rock have?
It's like
is he just his own belt? Is he Ted DiBiase now? He just made his own belt that he carries around?
Right. He is like the $1 million man. We got to have another chat here.
They'll have to push hard for that to formulate there. Yes, I agree. I agree. That's why I'm wondering if there's enough time. And Jay has the title now. Does he drop it back to Braun Breaker quickly? Or is this going to be The Rock involved? If it's not Bloodline 2.0 versus Bloodline 1.0 at Survivor Series, then who is it? Have they built up any other factions that can do that? Judgment Day is falling apart. I'm going to say that Bad Blood is over now since they're going to commercials. I'm going to close it and exit out here so that we can begin the rest of Don't Bury the Lead. That was a combination lead and watch party there. Little new wrinkle tonight. We tried doing the lead as it unfolded before our eyes. John, what do you think of it?
Dom, listen, we don't bury the lead. We had the main event tonight. We had the watch party. This is pretty fun. And the Fixer, thank you for your comments. They were awesome. I'll definitely check out your stuff if you have a channel on YouTube, but really appreciate you hopping in, man.
Thank you. We were wondering if anybody would be on the live stream with us, so we at least got one. Yeah, it's looking a bit scrappy for the men's side going to Survivor Series. It looks like it has to be Bloodline versus Bloodline. Mm-hmm. I agree. Are you looking forward to this build very accelerated over 8 weeks here? I'm looking forward to it. Tell us in the chat, tell us in the comments if you like where this is going, and do you want The Rock involved? John, what do you say? We just saw the end here. It looks like they're already spinning forward the story. Do you want to see this make its way to, in 8 weeks, Survivor Series?
Yeah.
Name me your Rock. 4 for the baby faces. Roman, Jimmy,
Cody, and Cody's got to be a part of it.
Okay.
They'll have to throw someone in. Kevin Owens? I don't know.
The Rock?
Oh, will The Rock be a... The Rock's got to be a heel, right?
The Rock is the final boss, and if we want to fantasy book it, it's Roman, Jimmy, Cody, Rock versus Bloodline 2.0, and maybe The Rock turns on them in the cage.
Oh.
But it's got to be Bloodline 2.0 versus the OTC gang. Throwback to the one-man gang. It's the OTC gang. Roman Reigns and the OTC gang. Yeah, they're going to have to incorporate Jay. Jay is in a totally different storyline where he's finding success as a singles wrestler.
Yeah, he's the IC champion. So are they going to put that on?
He's having a great run. Yeet is on fire.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley did the yeet tonight during her match, which we will talk about when we get there.
Yeah.
Jey Uso is on fire. We don't watch Raw a lot. We recap SmackDown here at Don't Bury the Lead. But Jey Uso's on fire as a singles wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah, we might have to make the switch. I don't know, Dom, if it's going to Netflix. It's a 2-hour show. It looks like they got a lot of stuff going on Raw.
If they're going to 2 hours, then they're going to have less stuff going on Raw.
Which is preferable, really. That's a good point. Yeah, there will be less things, literally. But yeah, this is all very interesting. I think we're kind of heading down this road anyway. Is the finish at all a surprise to you?
The finish, a little bit. The return of Jimmy Uso. Yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise. They did a good job keeping that quiet.
Do you feel like they're burying Solo Sikoa a little bit? He seems like he keeps taking a lot of losses.
He takes the occasional loss when there's like tonight there was interference from Jimmy. They'll be able to, and he's the heel.
Yeah,
he's the heel. He doesn't have a belt, but he's a heel. Heels can lose, and the Horsemen lost every War Games, and we're still way over. They were heels.
Yeah, that's true.
Heels can lose.
I'm gonna reset up my desk real quick, and then we'll jump into it.
Okay, very good. Tell us in the chat, live chat, if you're live chatting with us here. Tell us in the comments, what do you think of this this main event? Are there any really cool spots you wanted us to get to? As we were doing the watch along here, our first Don't Bury the Lead watch party, big spot, Cody Rhodes from the top of the ring post, splashing Jacob Fatu through the announce table. Let's see here. Giving the Intercontinental belt to a member of the Bloodline 2.0 and having a multi-title trade in a big 5-man war games. Oh my goodness, as if maybe the belts will be on the line in war games. Like if somebody pins one of the champions, they get the belt. Or just set aside the belts for a few weeks and just have them all come together. That's right. War games is usually 5-on-5. So now who's going to be the 5th man for Bloodline 2.0? They've got 4. It's Solo. It's the current World Tag Team Champs, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, who had a lot of success in New Japan as a tag team. And then it's Jacob Fatu. There's 4 for Bloodline 2.0. So who's going to be the 5th man for Bloodline 2.0? That I don't know how you get there. 5-on-5. Okay, I'll give you my 5-on-5 if they have to go 5-on-5 for it. The final boss joins Bloodline 2.0. There's your 5. Solo, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Jacob Fatu, and The Rock. There's the if it's going to be 5-on-5, The Rock is the 5th man for Bloodline 2.0. Then your original Bloodline has to be Roman, Jimmy, Jay, Cody, Sami Zayn. Get the band back together.
Definitely Sammy. He's one of the best members they had.
The Bloodline rescued Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn rescued the Bloodline. That was the best. Roman, Jay, Jimmy, Cody, and Viper. Is this a new member of the Anoa'i Maivia family who you think will be joining the WWE soon? Viper. I have not heard of Viper, but I'm intrigued. Apparently, there's so many members of this family wrestling all over the world.
And I did notice, they did not have the Prime Energy
rehydration station
only for the main event. Wasn't it there before?
You know, I didn't notice. I know Prime logo is in the middle of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Viper, Randy Orton.
Oh.
Okay, Randy Orton. Okay.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's what Randy Orton would make a lot of sense.
So Cody and Randy Orton teaming with their mortal enemies, Roman Reigns and the Usos. Yeah, if they're going to go 4, it's an easy 4 for Bloodline 2.0. If they're going to go 5, I wonder if The Rock is going to be the 5th man on Bloodline 2.0. Because The Rock seems to like being a heel.
Oh, he's got to be the heel.
He got a massive pop tonight just because he's The Rock, but he seems to enjoy being a heel.
He got pop. He got an in between mixed. I felt like there was a smattering of boos and people chanting like Rocky, Rocky. So,
well, he came out to the final boss, not to the old people's champ.
Yeah,
so he came out tonight sort of heelish.
Yeah, that's true. I guess he did have that updated theme song.
Yep.
And like the lightning and all that.
Lightning bolts, the final boss logo.
The lightning bolts, they kind of remind me of Hollywood Hogan.
Oh, yes, the NWO days, yeah.
That's Hollywood Hogan all day.
Yep. The Rock knows what works.
All right. Well,
Anything else from that main event there? After the Bloodline is over, Randy challenges Cody for the title. Okay, so not a Roman Reigns Cody Rhodes and not even a Rock Cody Rhodes. You're thinking Randy Cody for Royal Rumble? January, first pay-per-view of the year. You're thinking Randy Cody for Royal Rumble.
that
Cody's
sounds about
gotta-
right.
Cody's got to wrestle at Royal Rumble, right? And not in the Royal Rumble match. He's going to be the champ.
Yeah. He'll still have it come Royal Rumble.
Yeah, because the belt's not going to be on the line for Crown Jewel. If he's in War Games, the belt's not on the line for Survivor Series. I mean, I don't think they'd switch the belt at Saturday night's main event in December.
Yeah.
So the next pay-per-view is Royal Rumble.
Maybe
it's Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes at the Royal Rumble.
Well, Dom, I'll tell you what. We talked a lot about the main event.
We did.
And
that was fun.
Yeah, so we did a watch party with the main event. But we can maybe talk about fatal four-way or triple threat. Interesting.
Okay, too many permutations at this point. I like it though. See, this is what happens when they do a premium live event and end it like this.
With a huge question mark.
There's question marks. There's possibilities. WWE does a good job of this, right?
Yeah, the whole Bloodline thing. The way that the story ends there, the main event, and then they give you they push another storyline in, and you're like, oh, here's The Rock back. Oh, here's Jey Uso back.
Yep. They are doing this much better than the NWO did it in the 90s.
Yeah, because the NWO was just going over all the time. And then
it became like, what are they doing? And then the NWO split up. But it's almost kind of like what happened here with the Bloodline. But they seem to be doing it better with the Bloodline.
Wow, Randy's definitely going for one more title run.
Will that give Randy 16 or 15?
It'll be
Is he one away from Cena and Ric Flair? Or is he at 14 currently, meaning he's tied with Triple H? If Randy gets one more world title run, does he tie Cena and Ric Flair? I've got too many tabs open. I'm not looking.
And then
that's our lead, baby.
That's the lead. So thank you for joining. And
where to next?
Let's go to the follow, where we can talk about another matchup. And as I click in here, we'll go to the follow. Dom, do you want me to tell you where we should go for the follow?
I would love you to tell me where we're going. I've got notes for everything. Where are we going for the follow? There's 4 other matches.
Let's do Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. And
okay.
Liv Morgan retains the title due to disqualification. A big schmoz breaks out. A lot of action here. A lot of stuff with the Shark Tank cage.
Yes.
This was a fun matchup through and through. Dirty Dom, he is the man. And yeah. So Liv Morgan ends up retaining the title due to the fact that there's interference and,
Raquel Rodriguez.
Raquel Rodriguez returns. Dom, what did you think of this matchup?
This was the only match without a clean finish or cleanish finish in the ring. Although I wonder if there was a botch involved when that bell rang. Because Raquel, will set the stage for people. Dominic Mysterio somehow gets the cage door open. He's suspended about 12 feet above the floor there, above the entrance ramp, in a shark cage. Now, he gets the door open, tries to slither his way out eventually as Rhea Ripley is beating Liv Morgan underneath the cage there on the floor. But he's still chained to it. So now he's hanging upside down by this chain, sort of around his waist and his right leg. Rhea Ripley, instead of going for a pinfall on Liv Morgan in the ring, tells the ref, I need to handle some business. Grabs a kendo stick and starts whacking dirty Dominic Mysterio like he's a piñata. And that's when Raquel Rodriguez ambushes Rhea Ripley. Big shot from the back, takes her into the ring. Big Tejana bomb, that big choke slam power bomb combo that Raquel Rodriguez does. And then this is why I'm wondering if it was a botch. Raquel Rodriguez rolls Liv Morgan on top of Rhea Ripley like she was expecting a ref to count.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was no count. And they announced that the match had been thrown out. So I'm wondering if there was a botch as to how this finish was supposed to go down. Either way, Liv Morgan retains, but I wonder if she was supposed to get yet another pinfall victory over Rhea Ripley due to the interference. Because they set it up well that the ref went out to try and get Mysterio unhooked from the chain once a couple of security guys were out there. So the Tejana bomb in the ring could have occurred with the ref's back turn. So I wonder if there was a little botch there at the end. Raquel Rodriguez has been out for a while. She has a skin and perhaps immune system condition that has prevented her from wrestling for a while. I don't mean this to sound mean. She looks like she's not quite in shape.
Ooh.
She looks a little heavy.
Versus what she usually looks like, which is gigantic.
Well, she's tall for what she's 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And she's not 6 feet tall, skinny, almost like Charlotte Flair. She's 6 feet tall and, well proportioned all the way down.
Like a linebacker.
She's like just a well proportioned woman, just scaled up to be 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
Like she looks like she's a little out of shape though.
Mm-hmm.
She hit the Tejana bomb, which worked, but so if she's back and she's able to wrestle, she'll work herself into shape. I would imagine. But this is a new wrinkle there. What did you think of this match, finish wise, and what led up to it?
I don't like when they don't have a finish for the pay-per-view matches when they throw the match out. I feel like they should have just had someone go over, but
you'd rather have the screwy pinfall that everybody's going, no, the heel shouldn't have won that, rather than just throw the match out.
Yeah, totally. And
that's every Bloodline match with Roman Reigns defending the title.
I guess I knew it was going to be really silly when they had Dom come out and then they put him in a shark cage, and I was like, this is pretty silly. But there is nobody that does silly as quite like Dom Mysterio.
No.
Who was completely on fire the entire time. When Liv comes out, she gives him the big smooch when she comes out from the convertible. They're in the ring. They're very cringy. It's awful. And you're like, oh, God. They have that cringy thing going. And eventually, when he frees himself and he opens the cage door, because he has been to prison, Dom. So
he has.
He's done some hard time. He's seen some things in his one day in jail.
Michael Cole made the remark that he's now been in the shark cage longer than he was in jail the first time.
Yeah. So when he is in the shark cage and he falls down and he gets caught, that was really crazy, actually, because it looked like he just fell.
Yeah.
And then he just got hung up. And then he's hanging upside down. I imagine that's got to be pretty tricky to pull off, right?
Yes.
I was thinking, like, hanging from one leg like that, and for as long as he did, kudos to him.
The chain was attached around his waist, and then up and then down one leg.
Yeah.
So it's not like all his weight was on his ankle or his knee when he fell.
But it sure looked like it, right?
It looked like it a little. But as they zoomed in, it's like, okay, it's around his waist. This is exactly how you would do it.
Yeah. And so it was a really good matchup. I mean, I should say really good spot there when he fell down. And then Rhea Ripley getting the come up with the kendo stick. She laid it in. She did. If you're going to have that, like, oh, she did it real slow. Like, you see how she pulled the weapon out? She pulled it out real slow. She took her time. And then she went over there. She drug it out a little bit. And then she just wailed on him for real.
Yep.
So I liked I actually love that stuff. As far as spots in the match, really cool fisherman suplex by Rhea Ripley, which
Yes.
I thought was it made her. I mean, Liv is so much smaller than her, so
Yes.
when she picked her up, she really got her back with some momentum.
Yep.
And Liv did a really cool code breaker, as they call it.
Yes.
So I
The
like
chest
both.
cracker.
Yeah, the chest cracker or the code breaker.
Yeah.
I liked both of those spots. Just a minus on the schmaz thing, but I liked the match overall. How about you? What did you think?
Lots of action in it. The crowd chanting "Dom, you suck." Like he's not
Yes.
even in the match, and he's got all the heat. I also like the bridging suplex. I like that Liv and Rhea seem to be really developing a good chemistry in the ring here. Liv did this thing where she slid under Rhea's legs and applied a half crab on Rhea's injured left leg. Good ring psychology. They keep doing this where Liv keeps working over Rhea Ripley's left leg. Because, like you mentioned, she's so much smaller than Rhea that she has to do something like that.
And Dom, just to let you know, because I have the thing titled as Watch Party, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns go over the bloodline when Jimmy Uso returns. So that is the finish. Thank you for joining. And we're talking about the rest of the pay-per-view right now. We're talking Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan. Go ahead, Dom.
I do like that one. Another great spot. Rhea goes for the riptide. Liv slides out of it and hits that floating crucifix driver that Corey Graves said she calls it the home wrecker. Okay. But it's a neat looking move, and it's I like that. That's not the first time she's done it. She did it to them during the mixed tag match. Liv hit that float over crucifix driver on Rhea in that match as well. So really, really good looking move. It's a kind of move that if a smaller wrestler does it to a bigger wrestler, you're like, oh, okay, that's how you would have to pin a bigger wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to do something that's a combination surprise move with a little bit of impact.
Oh, yeah.
It'd have to be an impact move and with a surprise factor to it. Liv hit 2 out of the 3 amigos on those suplexes. Rhea blocked the third one, hit the razor's edge, and then a top turnbuckle frog splash. So everybody was doing the nod to Eddie Guerrero there. It was Liv doing the 3 amigos and only getting the 2 of them because she's the heel, so the third one gets blocked. And then Rhea doing the 5-star frog splash, Eddie Guerrero style there.
Is there a wrestler that gets nearly as many homages as Eddie Guerrero? It's unbelievable. Everyone does it.
Right. He just had, it was the Latino heat thing. I mean, it's happening a lot from Dominic Mysterio because that's a long-standing storyline.
Yeah.
Like that was the Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero custody of little Dominic Mysterio back when he was like 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a long-standing storyline that the WWE will not let die, and with good reason. I mean, keep going with it.
Yeah.
Keep going with it. And yeah, so Eddie keeps getting, these callbacks. The people who do the 3 amigos, if you do the 3 belly to back suplexes, the German suplexes, that's a Kurt Angle homage.
That's true.
Chad Gable does that. But if you do the front face lock vertical suplexes, that's the 3 amigos. That's the Eddie Guerrero callback. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime anybody gets to the top rope and does the shimmy before the frog splash, that's the Eddie Guerrero. You got to do the shimmy. You got to do the shimmy and then do the splash.
That's true. Yeah, the shimmy really shows it. Logan Paul does the shimmy, and then he gets heat because he's a heel and he's doing it.
Eddie Guerrero is the shimmy.
And Kevin Owens sometimes will do the shimmy when he's up there to give an homage to Eddie Guerrero. But I think he doesn't do it often because he would look ridiculous dancing. And that's not a shot at Kevin Owens. We just know he should stay in his lane, let's just say.
I would also look ridiculous dancing. So
right. So yeah, that's that's the first one
I like
wanted
the
to
match overall. I do wish they, like you said, would have given it like the screwy heel pinfall.
Yeah. So how about I said the Liv Morgan matches and Rhea Ripley is what I wanted to talk about. How about you? You wanna take the next match here?
Maybe match of the night. It was the opener, Hell in a Cell. Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. CM Punk wins it. This one goes 31 minutes.
Wow.
This was long. Now, one thing I've noticed, really paying attention to Hell in a Cell versus just a regular cage match. Normal cage matches, the cage is very tight to the ring posts
Mm-hmm.
and only extends down as far as the top of the ring apron.
Mm-hmm.
Hell in a Cell is much wider and goes all the way to the floor so that guys can escape the ring and fight on the floor, go under the ring, which these guys did. Tables, a toolbox, which wound up being used in the finish sort of here. Drew McIntyre eventually gets a bag of, and this is the thing that's so commonly done. Somebody brings out a sack of thumbtacks. Drew McIntyre brings out a sack of friendship bracelet beads.
Oh, that is a good idea.
And dumps it all over Cody Rhodes'
Yeah.
head. I mean, CM Punk's head there. But Punk recovers a little there because Drew's taking a sweet old time. He avoids a Claymore. Drew, it is a nasty looking spot. They have the ring steps in the ring, and CM Punk is propped up against it. As CM Punk rolls out of the way, Drew just goes spine first into the ring steps there on the missed Claymore. And then Punk, as Drew is just out, wraps a chain around his left knee, around his own left knee, and hits the go to sleep on the chained left knee for the pinfall. This match goes a good 31 minutes. Each guy was bleeding like a stuffed pig. What was that? Is that an old JR thing?
That is a JR, bleeding like a stuffed pig.
He was bleeding
I figured
from the head there. Yeah, go ahead.
I figured if they're going to Netflix, it's called Bad Blood. It's a Hell in a Cell match. We're gonna get some gigs tonight. So we got some. These were not the hard way, were they?
I don't think so. They were bleeding a lot. Drew's almost looked like he used one of those blood pellets from the movies.
Oh, okay.
Like it was massive.
He hit an artery or something.
Like but his forehead, yeah, because there's so many arteries in the forehead. Like it was massive. It was almost. I'll do a Saturday Night Live callback. It was almost massive head wound Harry, Dana Carvey's old character, who just shows up to parties with massive head wounds.
Yes,
like
I know what you're talking about.
This was Drew McIntyre got crazy color, and it almost looked like they went blood pellet instead of blade. But yeah, each guy got color. CM Punk got color early. He was bleeding 10 minutes into this match, so it went another 21 minutes.
Yeah.
With CM Punk having bled there. Punk hits Drew with the toolbox. Punk is on the floor. Drew grabs one of the tools and is trying to pull Punk back into the ring by his head and neck as Punk's standing on the floor and Drew's in the ring. Punk, though, reaches down, has the toolbox in both hands, and just swings it back up over his head and cracks Drew right over the crown of the head. And then when next we see Drew McIntyre, he has a crimson helmet. That was about 15 minutes into the match. So each of these guys bleeds before the halfway mark of this match. Lot of action in it, very slow and deliberate, but a lot of action, a lot of bad blood in this match. Punk sidesteps a Claymore, counters with a sharpshooter at one point. Drew fights out by hitting Punk with a wrench on his back.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Drew vertically suplexes Punk from the ring apron through a table on the floor. This was a tough one. Each guy was on the ring apron on opposite sides of a turnbuckle there. each with a front face lock there, and it's like, oh, what are they doing? Like at this point, Punk is not really going to be able to get the bigger man, Drew McIntyre, over, because when the turnbuckle's in your way, and you will attest to this having done indie wrestling, suplexes work when the guy taking the move can help. With the turnbuckle in the way, the guy taking the move could not help. So this was a tough move for Drew McIntyre to execute. Punk is a little smaller, but Punk's not a small human being.
No.
He's a 200 and something pound man. Drew lifts him straight up and then takes time to steady him vertically before going backwards with him. That takes more strength than doing the normal suplex in the ring when the guy taking the move can help.
Yeah, for sure.
That was an impressive spot.
This is a little off, but
Dom isn't as charismatic as Eddie. Eddie had charisma to spare. Yeah. I will disagree. Dom is oozing charisma as a heel.
Yeah.
Nobody has heat like Dominic Mysterio.
Eddie might be a little bit charismatic, but the timing's right for Dom. There's just something going on with Dom, but it's because Eddie's like wildly charismatic, and
Eddie managed to convert to being a baby face with it. That's one thing that we haven't seen yet. Is that in Dominic Mysterio's future?
Yeah.
Some people seem to think it is. I mean, we played during Cheap Heat a live stream or two ago. Alberto El Patron, the former Alberto Del Rio, talking about how he thinks Dominic Mysterio is going to be a future star, maybe a future world champ, and maybe it's with a face turn. As far as getting heel heat, Dominic Mysterio oozes. He is a heat magnet.
Yeah. Well, Dom, I'll tell you what. I would comment on the CM Punk match, but as you can maybe tell from my shirt here, I was watching my Phillies get beat up by your Mets. So I did not see CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, and I came back and I'm like, oh, I missed that one. I knew it was going to be a good one, so I'm glad that you gave me the feedback, and maybe I'll have to go back and rewatch it.
It's a fun match to watch. Both guys work really well. They work it like it's a really bad blood grudge match. So I haven't seen too many Hell in the Cells, but if this is what they're like, then I don't want to see them as a regular thing, but as a one-off, blow off to a long feud as this was.
This is a very long feud.
Yeah, they were teasing the animosity since last year's Survivor Series. It's 10 months.
Yeah. And I think it's just because of the injury that Punk sustained that they had to drag it out. But they were able to do things pretty much through social media the whole time, rather than, which kind of like kept the ball rolling.
I think it made it better. Not just social media, but Punk's injury and dragging it out. It meant that Punk cost Drew McIntyre the World Heavyweight Championship.
I wonder where they're gonna go with both these guys now that this is over. What are they gonna do with Drew? What are they gonna do with Punk? Is Drew gonna just take some time off? Is Punk gonna get a go for the world title from Gunther or Cody Rhodes even? Oh, there's no way that they would trust him with the belt. Punk?
Yeah, that's a great question. Does he win Royal Rumble? And then there's all the intrigue is he going to target somebody for WrestleMania?
Yeah, that would be pretty wild to go from being excommunicated from the WWE, but that's how they work. People that get excommunicated and brought back in get pushed to the moon. It's people that are good yes men and do the right things and hang around. Like, you can hang around, be a mid-carder and collect your check, but
until they cut you like Dolph Ziggler.
Right, exactly. Until you're cut off like Dolph Ziggler.
What a great segue about someone who was in the doghouse and came back and they gave a good push to. Did you see the WWE Women's Championship match between Nia Jax and Bayley?
Nia Jax goes over Bayley. I did not see this one. Maybe you can.
You did not see this one. Oh, this is you were just talking about this case study here. Nia Jax wins the match here in about 14 minutes. This was a pretty action-packed 14 minutes, though. Coming right off of a very slow-moving but intense and believable 31-minute match to open the premium live event. This was a good change of pace. I thought they worked really well. Nia had the advantage early. Bayley got a little bit of an advantage with her quickness. Baseball slide to Nia on the floor, dive through the ropes to Nia on the floor. So go back, John, and replay that. I know you're going to want to see the dive to the floor.
You know what? I'll skip that match because there's a dive.
Only because there's a dive. I think there was only one dive. This match gets interesting. Bayley at one point looks like she's going to win by countout. So she slithers back into the ring because she doesn't want to win by countout because then she doesn't get the belt, and then goes back to the floor again. And by that time, Nia has recovered and catches her with a strike to the midsection as Bayley tries to use the ring steps as a boost for, I guess, maybe a double axe handle or something. Nia catches her there. Then Nia hits a power bombs on the steps, throws her back into the ring, gets a Samoan drop off an Irish whip for a 2 count. Nia tries to follow up after that, slowly stalking her. Nia's doing a good job of playing to the crowd as a heel. She's doing the stalking thing. She scowls at the crowd every now and then. So she is deserving of the push she's gotten in her return to WWE. She goes off the ropes herself for some sort of move, but Bayley catches her with a Samoan drop off the ropes. Ref bump. As Bayley is covering Nia Jax, Nia just presses Bayley off of her over the ref, who kind of gets a little shot as Bayley lands on the match there. And as the ref is trying to get her bearings there, Bayley side kicks Nia Jax in the head, which causes Nia to just flop onto the ref and splash her.
Okay.
So now there's a big old ref bump.
Mm-hmm.
Bayley hits the rose plant, but there's no ref to count. And you're going to want to watch this even though there was a dive. Tiffany Stratton's music.
Oh.
Here comes Tiffy time with the briefcase. She clocks Bayley a couple of times with the Money in the Bank briefcase, then hands it to the ref as if she's going to make it a triple threat or something. And as she's doing this, like it's an Undertaker flashback, Nia Jax sits up and is staring right at Tiffany Stratton with her hands on one side of the briefcase, and the ref, who Tiffany Stratton is kind of woken up, with the other hand. And now Tiffany sees it and pulls the case back and says, no, I wasn't cashing it in. And, Nia sees it, winds up hitting a second turnbuckle Samoan drop on Bayley as they fight with each other on the turnbuckles, then hits the Annihilator for the pinfall. And then Nia leaves without the princess. So tell us in the comments, tell us in the chats, did you see this match? Did you like it? This was a change of pace from the opening Hell in a Cell match. I enjoyed it. There was sort of a heel finish. Sowing the seeds of doubt again between Nia and Tiffany. I mean, that's got to come to a head at some point.
And, before we jump on to, the next match here, just want to thank everybody for joining. We had some people filing in. We had some people on Twitch. We have some people back and forth on YouTube. The Fixer One, really appreciate your contributions. Eric Norman as well. Fixer One, awesome stuff. If you could subscribe to us, Fixer One, that'd be great. And then if you're watching now, just go ahead and subscribe. We are very close to 9. I would say we're making our way to 900 subscribers. The ultimate
in the
goal,
830s now, right? We're climbing.
Yeah, we are climbing. We're climbing. So we really want to get to 900, and it's really helpful for our little itty bitty small channel. When we get to 1,000, we get monetized. So it's really, really, really helpful. If you do, go ahead, turn the notifications off. Just subscribe to us. So moving on, though, there was a match that I did see.
You did see it. Tell us about the match you saw.
Damian Priest goes over Finn Balor and retains the title. This includes what I would have to say is sort of a goofy finish
Okay.
with Finn Balor trying to do his finisher onto Damian Priest, but eventually doesn't really kind of nail it, and then Damian hits him for the big slam, and they go home. So, Dom, what did you think of Damian Priest versus Finn Balor?
I like it. It's a good grudge match here. Finn Balor comes out with his World Tag Team Championship belt that he and JD McDonough share. The belt was not on the line here, but he still wears it out. Finn came out to the ring alone, and you wondered, is there going to be a run-in with the rest of Judgment Day? And sure enough,
Yeah.
about 10 minutes into this 13-minute match, Carlito runs out for a distraction. JD McDonough hits from the other side of the ring and drops down with Damian Priest thrown across the top rope there, allowing Finn Balor to hit the top turnbuckle stomp, that double stomp he does, for only a 2 count.
We got the false finish.
Well, Damian Priest kicked out. Big kick out there. Finn Balor, slow to follow up, goes for a chair. Eventually, Damian Priest clears the ring of the 2 lackeys that try to get back in, Carlito and then JD McDonough. JD McDonough sells like crazy. He takes this backdrop from Damian Priest, who sends him over the ropes to the floor. He goes way up in the air for this. JD McDonough, that guy bumps. We've talked a little Survivor Series already. Remember last year's Survivor Series when he took an RKO off the cage and he just totally dove into it. JD McDonough, that gentleman there, he bumps.
He's making the most of his little bit of time, right?
Right.
In the spotlight, just doing what he has to do. He's taking really good bumps. And you don't see him a lot. We never see him because we only see pay-per-views.
He's a
So
Raw
he's never
guy.
we never watch him on pay-per-views, but or on Raw because we don't watch Raw. But on the pay-per-views, he's been very solid whenever they've showed him in action. So kudos to him. I always love when guys take advantage of that little bit of time that they get.
And he's that guy, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like him there. I think it's fantastic that they've managed to have the bloodline interfere, but it doesn't quite work. Like, that's fun. Because eventually, like you're saying, Finn Balor keeps going for these stomps as Damian Priest keeps trying to get to his feet. So he keeps hitting him on his back, not on his chest as he's prone on the mat. The third time Finn goes for it, Damian Priest catches him, hand around the throat, hits that sit-out choke slam that he calls South of Heaven for the pinfall. This match only goes 13 minutes. It's the shortest match of the night, but there was a lot of action. And it winds up being a clean finish for the babyface.
Yeah.
Even though there was interference. This is almost a burial of Judgment Day by Damian Priest, who needed no help at all to beat 3 guys.
There were certain times during the match that Damian Priest is so much bigger than Finn Balor that it kind of made sense that he could kind of toss him around.
Yep.
I like the Finn Balor strategy of kind of chop the big man down.
Yep.
Makes it a little bit more realistic. Like, how's this little guy going to beat this giant dude? Damian Priest is huge.
He's tall. He's about 250 pounds. He's in that Gunter range.
He's tall and Finn is short. It is what it is.
Yep.
And then the only thing I wanted to point out about this match really is I did notice the outsider's edge that Finn Balor took it looked pretty rough. It looked like he went back, he hit his shoulders back, and then whipped his head right up against the mat. Okay. And I did see Damian Priest go over and say, "Are you okay?" And he mouthed, "Are you okay?" So I saw that all go down because I saw it, and I mean, not a bad idea, right? You don't want that to be You don't want that to be caught on camera. They caught it on camera, but you
Yep.
also don't want to pick some guy up if he's knocked out.
Yes.
But he just whipped his head on his back of his head up against the mat. I'm sure Finn Balor, he wrestled in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's been wrestling for years. Every now and then it happens, right? So
it is, and like you're saying, Damian Priest is tall, like Scott Hall was. So that Razor's Edge there, the tribute to, they keep saying it's his hero, Razor Ramon. He does that Razor's Edge there, yeah. He did it twice. He did it once to him on the ring apron as Damian Priest was standing on the floor, which probably hurts a lot less because it's not nearly the distance hitting the mat.
right.
But he did it a second time on the floor to the ring apron. So yeah, a couple of those for him. All the guys got to hit their big moves. Eventually, Damian Priest wins it. I can't imagine that this whole Judgment Day thing is over, though. It looks like it has legs. Maybe the one-on-one with Finn and Damian Priest is over, but it's got to have much. Damian Priest should be manhandling Finn Balor, and he was.
Yeah.
He was.
It just makes sense. He's so much bigger than him, you know. Thanks again, the Fixer. You've been killing it tonight. Thank you.
The Fixer's killing. I keep saying, are we going to have a third man in the booth? The Fixer, you are the third man in the booth tonight at Don't Bury the Lead. I love it.
Who's the third man?
Who's the third man? Is he the third man? But whose side is the Fixer one on?
Whose side
Bobby
is he
Heenan
on?
spoiling it there for you. Yeah, so Damian Priest, Finn Balor. Finn Balor does the same thing that we saw Liv Morgan do to Rhea Ripley, right? The smaller wrestler has to, wrestle that wily, brains over brawn style of maybe pick a body part and chop the person down and then slowly try and equalize it that way. So Liv did a great job against Rhea doing that. Finn Balor did a great job trying to do that with Damian Priest. But eventually Damian Priest, the babyface, gets the win here. One more big old segment we saw. It was Paul Levesque came out to announce what's happening at Crown Jewel. There will be title holder versus title holder matches for both the men and the women. So the WWE champion and world champion will face each other at Crown Jewel.
I wrote in my notes.
Won't be on the line. And what did the crowd do for this announcement, John?
They booed Crown Jewel, which is hilarious.
I think they were booing this announcement of the stipulation. Like, they will face each other, but not for any of the belts. Boo.
No, I thought they were booing. He's like, in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, we'll have Crown Jewel. Like, boo.
Maybe they were booing Saudi because they've been doing one or two premium live events from Saudi Arabia a year now.
Yeah, it could have been anywhere. It could have really been like any other city. Like, I know in Philadelphia, if they say Dallas, they'll boo.
Oh, of course,
I hate the Cowboys, but
yes,
it could just be another city. Oh, who cares? Another city, not ours, right?
Oh, there's a huge sports rivalry going on between Atlanta, Georgia, and Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Well, there's more of a geopolitical issue with,
sure.
with the U.S. and the Middle East, but let's not get too deep into that.
So, I will say that they were booing the weird stipulation that no belts are on the line.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that. Maybe it was that. So Gunther comes down to the ring to brag about he's going to be one of the people in that match. Then he notices Bill Goldberg, Atlanta guy, sitting at ringside. He starts running down Bill Goldberg, who's at ringside with his son. And after he's insulting Goldberg jumps the barricade. More than a dozen security stop him from entering the ring, which allows Sami Zayn to ambush Gunther. They brawl up the ramp. Excellent stuff. Back in the ring, Triple H raises Goldberg's hand. The crowd is chanting Goldberg, and Goldberg's music is playing. It's 1998 in the Georgia Dome in WCW.
Oh, it totally is. And he even Triple H even talked about how he's in WCW. So
yes, he said last time I was here, I was terrorizing. He was terrorizing in WCW. Then he was John Paul Levesque or John Paul Lafitte, something. They tried to make him a French aristocrat
Yes.
before moving to the WWE and becoming the British aristocrat, Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
It's
So
funny
yes,
that they were.
I love that now that they're not rivals anymore, they're making all these cool NWA and WCW references.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, Goldberg got a big pop.
Yes.
Keep going. Sorry.
No, that's all I was going to go. There's one more big stuff that they were referencing. They referenced in the main event that Dusty Rhodes had a cage match in Atlanta in the Omni back in 1980, where he teamed with a one-time rival who became his friend, Ole Anderson. And it's one of the great, great, great turns in pro wrestling history. This is 1980, so it's not the quote-unquote modern era of pro wrestling. If you go watch this, find a videotape of it somewhere. It's Dusty Rhodes and Ole Anderson in a steel cage against, I think it was the Assassins. Ole Anderson had been begging Dusty Rhodes to help him against the Assassin for years, and Dusty Rhodes finally agreed. And in this match, Ole Anderson turns on Dusty Rhodes. The crowd in Atlanta is nuts for this heel turn. There are people in the stands jumping the barricade, trying to climb the cage to get into the cage and help Dusty Rhodes. This was an insane scene in Atlanta for this cage match, and they were referencing that, and it was fantastic.
They were fans who were trying to climb?
People from the crowd were they were jumping the barricade and trying to climb the cage to help Dusty Rhodes.
That's crazy. That's such a scary era to wrestle in when
Right?
everyone thinks this stuff's for real, and they're like so into it that they're like, "Oh, we gotta jump in there."
This is Jim Cornette saying that he was legitimately almost stabbed in parking lots or as he was walking out of ringside. Yeah, it happened. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the great things that they referenced. They referenced one other thing as well, and I'm so glad they did, because this is just a sentimental favorite of mine. If you want to do the screen share, I've got him up on the screen right now.
Sure.
They made a reference to Wildfire Tommy Rich versus Buzz Sawyer in a cage match in Georgia in like 1983 or something. Early 80s. Talking about, old cage matches in Atlanta and the history of Atlanta and big old cage matches from NWA, Georgia Championship Wrestling being an affiliate of NWA. Tommy Wildfire Rich, a sort of mid-carder for his career. He did wind up getting a brief run with the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. His title reign lasts 4 days. Harley Race dropped it to him as they were doing a series of house shows, and then dropped it to him on a Monday, won it back from him on a Friday. But it was such an awesome gesture, I think. Now, they say they did it because the idea of this huge returning wrestler who was a totally over babyface, Tommy Rich, getting the title helped their promoter get more control over that territory. But I think it was also just a great, great nod to Tommy Rich, who had been wrestling since he was 18 years old.
Oh, wow.
And, he had done heel stuff and left the territory, came back, was actually PWI's most popular wrestler of the year for 1981.
Huh.
And they actually so Tommy Rich's name goes into the record books. It lasted 4 days. It was never on TV, but Tommy Rich, Wildfire Tommy Rich, was an NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, and he got a shout out more than once tonight on this program. And that was just great for me because I remember watching as a kid. I remember Wildfire Tommy Rich.
Yeah, that's really cool.
He was cool. He's been wrestling since 1974. He's been wrestling for 50 years. He's 68 years old. He made his debut 50 years ago. But it was fantastic. If we scroll down here, It's in April when he wins the NWA World Championship. He drops it back to Harley Race 4 days later in Gainesville. He won it in Augusta, Georgia. So it was here in Georgia. He starts a feud with Buzz Sawyer. They referenced it here, the last battle in Atlanta. The blow off of their feud, which is almost 2 years, which is a Foley and Cole's last man standing cage match. So they were digging deep into the history of NWA and WCW for tonight's pay-per-view. So kudos to Michael Cole and Corey Graves for digging into the nostalgia and really laying it in. Yeah. Mention Tommy Wildfire Rich as often as you can. As often as you can. I'll take it, baby. You could see down here, NWA World Heavyweight Champion one time for 4 days. He had the big gold belt. Pro Wrestling Illustrated helped him be most popular wrestler of the year in 1981. And it was also Wrestling News Observer named him best babyface for 81. So for a guy who was a longtime mid-carder who occasionally got a push to the top of the card and held the belt for a measly half a week, man, it's great to hear Tommy Rich being referenced 40 years later.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's so cool that they gave him the belt for a little bit there. They probably couldn't have him be the top guy, but they still kind of give him the homage there.
It's such a great gesture.
Yeah.
Such a great gesture that now forever Tommy Wildfire Rich is on that list of NWA World's Heavyweight Champions. Yep. So
Very
fantastic
cool.
stuff. I love it. I love when they're now doing more of that stuff and they feel more comfortable doing it.
We have another chat here.
Yes.
Sammy does good work. Needs to go for a title run again.
I love this segue. Sami Zayn is like Tommy Wildfire Rich. A guy who owns the mid card, but if you see him get pushed, he's so popular that you could see him getting pushed and maybe getting a world title run. He's had a secondary belt like Tommy Rich did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's had other belts. Sami has never held the world title, though. I wonder if they give Sami Zayn, even if it's brief, a world title run at some point. He seems to be over enough with the crowd. The crowd is behind him, and he's a believable enough performer in the ring.
I wanted him to beat Roman Reigns. I was actually pretty angry when they didn't book that. And I was like, no. And then they were like, oh, they got to give it to Cody. I'm like, no, this would be perfect. And the crowd
and then they didn't give it to Cody.
And then they didn't give it to Cody either.
It's like, oh, they're saving the title change for WrestleMania. No, they didn't change the title at WrestleMania either.
Well, right. Before we jump into Thumb Drive, we got one more coming through here.
Okay, there we go. A fan, jumped the barricade and went to attack Stone Cold. Triple H, kind of doing good by your business partner there. Sort of took the letter to the fan there and kept him out. Yes, the wrestlers are opponents as long as fans don't get involved. Then the wrestlers are all on the same team.
Yeah.
That
must have been a while
inadvisable to try that. Do not try that at home or if you go to a wrestling arena.
Yeah.
Do not get involved.
Don't get involved. You will get a beating. We've seen stuff
and
like that.
And well-deserved. Do not do that.
Yeah, I saw that with like maybe a TNA show when some guy jumped in and Jeff Jarrett beat the hell out of the fan. And then like Jeff Jarrett was holding him up and punching the guy as he was entering the ring. And he was holding him and punching him. And then like other people came and started punching him. It was like, this guy just took a beating.
Yeah.
So don't do that. I don't have, listen, our listeners, our viewers, they won't do that. They're good people. No. They follow Don't Bury the Lead. They're not going to do that, right?
These are smart marks.
Smart
right? We get it, but we still enjoy pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So we know not to, trying to insert yourself into the in-ring competition at all.
Dom, anything else you want to talk about with this show?
They had, for some strange reason, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair and Naomi hosting Bad Blood, even though they have no bad blood between them or with anybody else. They were just having a party. I don't know if that was just a chance to get them some camera time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That seemed a little odd. I don't think every minor premium live event needs a special host. You know, you can do a non-WrestleMania without a host.
You know what it really was? They were like, you know what? We got to get Jade on the screen, but we don't want to see her wrestle. How about you host, Jane? You know, how would you host, Jade? Yeah, maybe, I don't know. They were trying to, they tried to correlate it with the hip hop vibe and then the girls. So
this is also the first show in a long time that husband and wife are here together on the same card in some capacity. If I'm not mistaken, Jimmy Uso, is married to Naomi, Trinity Fatu.
You're correct. Yeah. So yeah, they were both on the card.
They're finally both back in the same promotion.
Uh-huh.
Naomi was in TNA for a while as just wrestling as Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's both of them were on the card tonight together. Very interesting.
All right.
I believe it's drive time here.
It's time. It's time. It's drive time.
It's time for Thumb Drive. That's where you and I just take all of this data and we're going to store it on our little thumb drive there. We're also going to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to this entire show. There are no ties. They're all except the one I'm wearing because it's a premium live event. But anyway, for the ratings, there are no ties. There are also no star ratings, no letter grades, no number grades. Folks, you're taking this college course. Pass, fail.
Dom, we're not Dave Meltzer, who was heavily featured in the Netflix documentary about Vince McMahon. I have not seen somebody go so over in quite some time. Dave Meltzer was fantastic in that documentary. But we're not Dave Meltzer. We don't do star ratings. We don't do 7 stars at the Tokyo Dome. We don't do 3 stars at the Atlanta, what have you. We don't do 6 stars at some Japanese show. No. It's either a thumbs up or a thumbs down for us.
And play along with us in the chats or in the comments. You give us your rating. And you know what? If you want to do star ratings or letters or numbers, okay. But also give us a thumb up or a thumb down overall there. What do you say, my friend? I'm ready.
Let's do it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, 2 thumbs up. Dom, why'd you give this show a thumbs up?
Really, it was from the first match of the night.
Mm-hmm.
When they do the gimmick matches, my expectations are so low. But I thought that was well done.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know a lot about the other Hell in the Cell matches, but without anybody, climbing to the top of the cage or getting thrown off it or thrown through it, they also did interesting things where an interesting table spot where the table legs break. And now they're using the broken off legs of the table as weapons in it. So really, from the very first match, I enjoyed what they did with that Hell in the Cell thing. Everything else made sense. The only thing I didn't like is I would have preferred to have seen the heel pinfall victory in the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley match. And I still think that's what they had planned, or at least that's what Raquel Rodriguez thought was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the only maybe blemish on it. Solid premium live event. Got some surprises. Got some good wrestling. It lived up to its name. This was about people settling scores for grudge matches.
Yeah.
I think it did its job.
I would say that from my perspective, any show where The Rock comes in and comes back is a good show. So thumbs up just for that. The ending tag match was good. All kind of made sense, but I thought there was good action in it. And I like how they've made Cody and Roman not so friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And they were about to make up and be friendly, and then The Rock shows up, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's The Rock." So I like that. I liked the Damian Priest Finn Balor matchup. I liked the way that Finn was being, let's just say, correctly wrestling Damian Priest how he should, and it was fun to watch Damian Priest do some big slams to Finn Balor and
Mhm.
just beat him down and get his revenge. So overall, from what I saw, pretty good stuff. Oh, and I actually liked the segment with Goldberg
You
because
did.
usually they do these segments and it's a celebrity, and I hate them. Like this segment with Jelly Roll, I hated that segment. I don't want to see that. But the segment with Goldberg was hilarious because Gunther was hilarious. I hope you're not as good of a wrestler. I hope you're a better father than you are a wrestler. He says
Yes.
to Goldberg. And I said, yes, that's perfect. So, from my perspective, thumbs up. So, 2 thumbs up. And let's see, we got a chat. What do you guys think here?
That was not only heat on Gunther's part, but it may have been a shoot, not just a work.
It's not 2 thumbs up, it's 3 thumbs up. The
Three
third man in the
thumbs up
booth.
from the Fixer One. Thank you. Hey, we got to show the third man in the booth. He gives it a thumbs up. I love it.
Yeah. And then he mentioned this a little before. That documentary was insane. Yeah, something else. Highly
The Mr. McMahon documentary you guys are referencing.
yeah.
We may get to that in short order here. Is it warm where you are, John?
I
It's a
still
little
got my
warm here. I need my trusty little cube fan next to me because it's an actually unseasonably warm October day here in southern New Jersey. It was beautiful outside earlier. It is a little warm, but John, it's always warm at this time of our Don't Bury the Lead live stream. It's time for cheap heat.
It's time for cheap heat. Cheap heat. And let me get the graphic up because I've got some chats coming in that I want to show. But
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's do some chats as we get into cheap heat.
before cheap heat, we're gonna do a chat that came through, and this one's very
Chats
unique.
can be part of cheap heat. Well, I mean, it depends on what the chat says, right?
We got a chat from Twitch, which we never get.
Hey, hello to Twitch. Thank you.
Listen, we're a lot bigger on YouTube, but we also stream this on Twitch. So really appreciate you hopping in here. Let us know what you think of the show tonight. Was it a thumbs up or a thumbs down for you?
Thank you. Whether you are watching the live stream on Twitch, on Twitter, on YouTube, we appreciate you guys tuning in. If you want to see the mother load of content that we have, that is on the YouTube channel. YouTube is more conducive to having an archive of video content, which is what we have on the YouTube channel. This is also the beginning of our 3rd year of doing this.
Yeah.
September 30th, 2022 was our first live stream for Don't Bury the Lead. That was earlier this week. That was Monday, I believe. So this is the beginning of our 3rd year. So we've got a lot of content on the YouTube channel. Subscribe there. There's also a join option for some extra perks if you want on the YouTube channel. Go back through our archive like Michael Cole and Corey Grave were doing today, going back through the archive of WCW, NWA, Georgia Championship Wrestling, and WWE, WWF. Go back through Don't Bury the Lead. We've got edited clips that John makes off of our live streams. We've got the shorts, which are the under 60-second things that John also makes. And of course, you can follow the full live stream anytime you want. Watch that in the archive as well. So head on over to YouTube and give us a subscribe there. We're into the mid 800s at this point, so we're growing.
Yeah, we're trying to hit 1,000. And then
guess what Kevin Owens just did?
Did he retire? Ooh, my guess, retire.
Turn on Cody Rhodes. We've been waiting for him to turn on Cody Rhodes, haven't we?
Mm-hmm. Cody, when you get a chance, let us know what Kevin Owens did.
Cody Burris. Guess what KO just did? Not sure. Very good.
Oh, attacks Cody Rhodes. This is at the press conference, I'm assuming.
Oh my goodness! Did he really do that at the press conference?
Sounds like
we may have that for this coming Saturday's live stream when we recap SmackDown. I'm sure that'll be all over SmackDown.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Is Kevin Owens going to join Bloodline 2.0 for War Games?
So it was off air, but it wasn't at the press conference? We'll have to
Wow,
see.
breaking news here. This
Breaking
is some
news.
cheap heat if Kevin Owens finally went after Cody Rhodes. Although I gotta say, I can't believe they didn't save that one for either SmackDown or a premium live event. There's going to be footage of that all over social media soon if that happened.
I wonder
They've got to milk that and monetize that.
Mm-hmm.
They've been teasing that for months.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while now.
That's a good one. Little cheap heat as we start here.
Oh,
So
and
it's Friday night, and last night, and we're not recapping SmackDown, so I just decided, I'm going to do my laundry, and I can't watch USA Live anyway. I have to catch it on replay. So I'm like, well, I can't watch SmackDown anyway. I'll go do laundry. I head to the laundromat, and guess what's on the TVs at the laundromat? They've got them tuned to USA. SmackDown's on the laundromat.
That's pretty wild that they turned on SmackDown at a
That's
laundromat.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I think they just had USA on because USA Network has, like syndicated dramas and stuff throughout the day.
Modern Family or something like that.
Yeah, whatever. And then at
Some
8 o'clock,
sitcom.
it just became SmackDown, and they left it on. I'm watching SmackDown.
Well, Dom, that is some good cheap heat. And we're going to enter cheap heat. So cheap heat, this is a segment where we talk about WWE, AEW, other trending topics in the wrestling world. These are articles and little shorts that we find, or TikToks, or whatever they are, that have news that are going on in the wrestling world today. We've had a lot of success on our channel taking these shorter stories and taking these condensed clips that we make today into smaller videos. We also published the full cheap heat as well, because that's had success as well to help us get some watch hours. It's really the backbone of the channel, is making these shorter videos and getting lots of views off of those videos. We had a cheap heat with Logan Paul. We got 40,000 views on it. So that was probably our greatest video ever, or at least most successful ever. But hey, sometimes we post them and they get 100 views. So hey, whatever it is, that can work for us. We like it. So without further ado, Dom, what's the first topic you'd like to talk about?
I figured we'd keep it timely, and before we got into the other stuff, talk about Dax from FTR, AEW, a fantastic tag team there at All Elite Wrestling. They are from the North Carolina area, and of course, Hurricane Helene went through southern Appalachia and caused a lot of damage there. They've got a new shirt. They are donating proceeds to Summit Coffee, which is based in that area of North Carolina, out in western North Carolina. A lot of these guys have ties to that area. We've mentioned before that these guys are from the North Carolina area. So if you're interested in helping out Summit Coffee, a great business based in that area, you can do so. Dax Harwood has talked about it was the first coffee shop they got to visit during the COVID areas. For his birthday, they went there, and Bret the Hitman Hart came to Summit to celebrate and surprise them. They made so many friends there. It's our turn to help. So trying to help out a business based in that area. Good to see when our wrestlers do this. You wonder what it is they can lend their names to. And if it's directing some funds and some relief efforts to businesses and to individuals who've suffered some damage, I think this is a good one. This is maybe the opposite of cheap heat. This is a cheap pop.
Yeah, it is cheap pop. Well, I purchased a shirt. I liked it so much, and I
Very
was like,
good. There it is.
It's for a good cause, and I think it doesn't look so obvious that it's a wrestling shirt, which I always like. So I was like, I could wear that. Nobody will really know what this is. So, yeah, I'm in.
There you go. Hurricane Helene is
And 100% of the proceeds go to them. Yeah, of course. Why not?
Summit
right?
Coffee's River Arts District location was destroyed. 100% of the royalties from this T-shirt will be given to Summit Coffee to help support their business as well as their team. I believe Dax talked about at some point helping the baristas and those. All royalties from this shirt will go to the baristas who have lost their jobs. Summit Coffee likely has insurance to rebuild the physical structure, the buildings and grounds. But for the people out of work, they're trying to help some people who've lost their jobs at the moment. So this seems to be a legitimate thing. You're wondering about, where do I give if I want to give? Dax seems like a guy who has ties to the areas. Wrestlers have been known to lend their names to things like this in the past. This is a much better use of your funds than to sending it to, the money wasters over at FEMA and their cronies at the Red Cross. Like, find people on the ground who are actually helping, who aren't going through mounds of paperwork and red tape and only giving it to approved vendors.
Yeah.
Like, go in and find there are, and now with new media like X, the former Twitter, that Dax is posting on here to get the word out, there are ways for you to find actual organizations helping people on the ground in these areas.
Couldn't agree
If
more.
you're into this, make the effort.
Because this is so much better for me to buy the shirt, and then ultimately they get the profits, and I know it's going to go to these people, rather than if I throw it in some bucket, who knows where it goes.
Right.
It's just not trustworthy. But yeah.
This is good stuff. We may ease into cheap heat here with some more cheap pops.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Paul and his fiancée, Nina Agdal, announce, isn't this wonderful, the birth of their baby, as I'm doing this here, and the ads are popping up. This is from their joint Instagram post they made. Several pictures born this past week. Esme Agdal Paul has entered the chat. And there's all them together. So wonderful news for Logan Paul and his family. He recently dropped the U.S. title to LA Knight, and it looks like it was excellent timing. It allowed him to be with his fiancée.
Now it makes a lot more sense.
And pardon?
Now it makes sense why he's not been.
Makes a little more sense now, right?
Yeah.
This is a wonderful story. We talked about the birth of Elton from the Pretty Deadly last week.
Mm-hmm.
Kit Wilson got married, and Elton Prince, he and his wife welcomed a baby who was delivered. So good news here. So we are doing cheap pops here instead of cheap heat, at least for a little while. John Cena also made his way. Maybe now we're in a cheap heat. John Cena, speaking of delivering babies, made his way onto The Simpsons to help deliver a baby at the comic book shop here. We'll turn the volume down, but this is what they think John Cena looks like in Springfield world. And here is John Cena delivering a baby on The Simpsons. Scene ends with them locking poor Bart Simpson in the store.
Yeah, and then also the thing is, the comic book guy seems to have a wife and a baby. So I'm like, wow, what's going on?
Well, yeah, what has happened in this show? Cartoon world is weird. Some people age and progress, and then Bart Simpson is still whatever age he always was.
He's still a child. Yeah. Well, I don't think they've had a cartoon that's episodic like this go for so long.
Bart Simpson is not aged in the 30 years that The Simpsons has been going on. It's 30 plus years at this point, dating all the way back to the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah, right. Because he's on that other show before.
And yet other people have to age because they have to, get married and have babies. Like the comic book guy. But John Cena just delivered a baby. This is John Cena's latest world title run. Mm-hmm. Being on The Simpsons and helping deliver a baby. Fantastic stuff. Speaking of AEW, before we mentioned them briefly, you brought this to my attention. Warner Brothers Discovery and All Elite Wrestling reach a multi-year renewal for broadcasting rights, and they're adding simulcasts on the Max streaming service, which will not only have maybe some of their wrestling programs during the week, but also their pay-per-views, which now might become premium live events and not pay-per-views if you subscribe to Max. Maybe you'll just get it as part of your subscription. You watch AEW more than I do. Do you like this development? What are the advantages or disadvantages as you see them, John?
Yeah, I got some news for you. This is huge. This
Okay.
is really huge because now you don't need to go to cable to watch the two shows. They're going to be streaming right on HBO Max. HBO Max is pretty affordable, maybe $10 a month. I get it for free because of my wife's internet or her cell phone. She has
Oh,
AT&T cell phone, and they throw in Max too.
look at
So
that.
so we get that for free. So for me, AEW is going to be absolutely free, and it's one step closer. We're very close to cutting the cord. Now it's one step closer to being like, I'm done. So huge for that aspect. Pay-per-views will also be on um pay-per-views will also be on Max at a discounted rate. They
Mhm.
won't be free like they are with WWE. If you have Peacock, you see everything they have.
Yep.
I'm hoping that the price is a lot cheaper because now it's $50 a pay-per-view, which is, I think, pretty steep. If you're going to
Mm.
run a monthly pay-per-view and it's $50, I know you've watched one and it was not pretty bad condition too, or pretty bad app too. The Bleacher Report.
Not the greatest app. I wonder if they were caught off guard by just the volume of uh, just pay-per-view viewers they had. This is to their advantage. HBO Max can probably handle the large amount of viewers that AEW is hoping to get, right?
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
not going to have HBO Max. You're not going to crash the HBO Max website.
And I stole this joke from Reddit, but I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Yes.
Now we're not going to be able to bicker with each other about ratings, TV ratings weekly for like, oh man, AEW, your ratings are in the toilet, or oh man, like WWE, your ratings are down 20%. Like the people that pick sides like idiots, whether they're WWE or AEW, they argue on the internet and they'll argue with each other about like ratings and stuff. So those conversations will go away now that we'll have everything on Netflix, and then everything on Max. And then we'll really roll on Netflix and then SmackDown on USA. But really good stuff. And I think it's going to be a lot easier for people to watch. People have wanted streaming for a while. Their demographic really is cutting the cord left and right. So they're not going to
Yeah.
get cable to watch it. So I think you are going to see an uptick in interest. And I think one more thing here, it's interesting because Netflix and HBO, the way that they're structured, totally makes sense for AEW and
WWE
WWE.
to do. Yeah.
So Netflix is the biggest streaming service, so they have WWE, but HBO it has shows that are, in my opinion, much better than Netflix. Netflix has a bunch of trash. It has like lots of like reality TV shows. HBO has like Curb Your Enthusiasm. They have like Secession, which is a really, really popular show about like a business. But like they have good shows on it. And it's seen as kind of like, it's HBO is always seen like as its own entity, right? That produces good content.
They're
So
the AEW of streaming services.
yes, their AEW makes so much sense on Max. So
Lots of Japanese style shows.
yeah, I mean, it's just the way that it's set up. And then one more thing, because I'm a little bit on a roll here. I do want to talk
Yes,
about
go
this.
for it.
I saw a lot of people praying on the death of AEW after CM Punk left. And a lot of people saying they're done, they're washed, they have all these problems. Tony Khan's an idiot, he doesn't know how to book. Litany of things I've had to read through, and litany of people that are podcasters now, like Conan or whoever, having to jump into like on board of like AEW's bad, Tony Khan is evil. Once Vince was gone, he turned into the new Vince, Tony Khan. And I just want to tell those people, You're wrong. You owe them an apology. They just landed this huge deal, and now they are highly profitable. So, how about that?
AEW kicks out at 2.
Yes, Conan, you were wrong.
They're
Jim
still
Cornette, you were
alive.
wrong. You were all wrong.
This new deal with Max kicks off in 2025 at some point. So it's like the Netflix deal with WWE. It's not immediate.
Mhm.
Max also, for the first time, will stream AEW programming live beginning in January. So maybe that's when you'll be able to watch Dynamite and Rampage and Collision as well on Max. Interesting point you brought up, that their demographic is really not into cable TV as much as older demographics. So maybe AEW's ratings were always depressed because the people who would prefer that type of pro wrestling just, they weren't going to pay 85, 90, 100 plus dollars a month for garbage cable TV.
It's been a real point of contention for AEW. People that want to watch AEW not being able to watch it. I know Steve cut the cord, and he just said he watches it on YouTube, and he loves AEW. But he's like, yeah, I just watch highlights on YouTube now. And
Very good.
then I'll
Friend of ours from the music and pro wrestling days. Yes.
so he wants to watch it and he can't, but he's like not going to pay $80 to watch it, So, and he gets all the pay-per-views too. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
got
that was my dilemma when SmackDown went to USA.
yeah. I don't want I don't want to get too fired up, Dom. This might be right what you'd want to talk about, but
FEMA should be charged with fraud. FEMA should be disbanded. Don't go through the trouble of actually charging them. Just disband them. I'm with you, the Fixer.
and then the Fixer has some AEW stuff. AEW
Yes,
now,
Ricochet's there.
but come on, man, Chris Jericho needs to retire. I have said in the past, the Fixer, he needs a break. He needs just a break to go away and just get away from the screen because he's stale. He's doing the same thing. They're trying the learning tree thing. I do appreciate them doing the learning tree thing and going another direction, but it just feels like he's all over that show all the time, and he just needs some time off. Why don't he go tour with his band, leave for 6 months, come back? People would freak out, or do some stuff in Japan. You know,
We need a Fozzy tour of cruise ships for a few months, right?
we need multiple cruises. Yeah, exactly.
Very good. There we go. So this is good news for AEW. Let's hey, this was mentioned before the documentary. Mr. McMahon was the number 4 TV series on Netflix last week. This comes to us from Brandon Thurston, a well-known name in the business of wrestling. In the US, it ranked number 3. You can see here, maybe we can open this up and bring it up a little bit. You can see there it is, number 4, Mr. McMahon, a limited series. Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story was 1. Nobody Wants This was 2. The Perfect Couple was 3. And there's Mr. McMahon coming in at 4.
Mm-hmm.
28 million plus hours viewed by almost 5 million different viewers, it looks like. That's some good work there. On the other hand, Vince McMahon drops off the Forbes Billionaire 400 list. He is still apparently a billionaire, worth $2.7 billion, but he's no longer within the top 400 billionaires as far as Forbes goes. So, Matt, what a long way down it was for Vince McMahon to plummet to $2.7 billion in net worth.
That's interesting that he was on it at 2.7 billion and now he's off. I wonder
he
if
was on it at a little more, maybe. Maybe it's a combination of the list, the amount you need to be in the 400 going up, and also Vince being forced to sell some of his assets. Elon Musk tops the list. Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. It's hey there,
Did they find
Larry.
a worse picture of Elon?
It's not his own site. It's Forbes.
Yeah.
Musk, Bezos, Zuckerberg. So it's a lot of new media combined with other things. Musk is also Tesla and SpaceX. Um, Bezos, Zuckerberg. Actually, it's these guys are rich because they're cronies. Tesla makes its money on selling government carbon credits, and SpaceX with government contracts. Bezos, Amazon is only profitable because they have Amazon Web Services, which sells web space to the government. And Zuckerberg, he played ball with the censorship stuff, so he has been well protected. But yeah, it's billionaires, it's people who have insanely inflated assets. But Vince McMahon is not one of the top 400. Tell me a little more about this documentary. Did you see any of it, John? I think at least one of our chatters was mentioning it.
Yeah, I wanted to show a chat. He said Chris has been doing the same thing since 1999. I think he's changed it up enough from 99 to now. Especially when he was in New Japan, he was doing something a little bit weirder. Where he had cut his hair off and it was like a little shorter, and he had like a headband on all the time. Actually, kind of like how I do right now. And he was a real nasty heel. Then in AEW, he came back as kind of like a rocker, and he's just stuck with that whole gimmick for too long. And I agree with that. Like maybe that gimmick's a little too long. I think he needs some time off. But thanks for that, The Fixer. Back to the documentary. I would say I like the documentary.
Okay.
It was a little bit of a puff piece at certain points, a little roll of the eye I would give sometimes to WWE and how great they are. Everything Vince was doing was like working, and like now we're at the WCW part. It's very predictable what's going to happen here, and a lot of it is stuff I already know. The only stuff that was good, and I do have to say this, Dave Meltzer really represents himself very well.
Good.
And he's all over the documentary. And they interview him from his kitchen, and it's just like crap all over the place. It looked like he doesn't clean up at all, and it's just like, but he's come off really good, specifically with stories and remembering all the historical things that were happening and talking about it in great detail. Talking about the best was the Pontiac Thunderdome, or the Pontiac
Silverdome,
Silverdome.
WrestleMania 3?
Yeah, so all
Hulk
of them were
Andre.
and they were like, oh, 93,000. And then he said, and Dave Meltzer says, I bet everyone saying 93,000, right? There wasn't 93,000 people in that stadium. He's like, no, it was more like 70,000. He said that it wasn't a full sellout, but they'll say it's 93. I know.
Sure.
And then every person's like 93. It's like a little comic relief they did. And then also Tony Atlas is just telling the truth, man. Tony Atlas is on it. He's a little old, a little crazy, and he's just saying stuff about how they treated women back then, and it's pretty bad. So this all came out during the allegation, or they released it now. And so they have all this stuff like, we made all this before the allegations. We'll touch on that in the 5th episode. We'll talk about the allegations. And that 5th episode is not out yet. But the first 4 episodes are. So it's a pretty good watch, I have to say.
All right, there's a good endorsement and a Dave Meltzer and Tony Atlas high grades for them for their participation. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. The Hardy Brothers. This was just a neat thing I saw online. They're at an autograph show. They were asked to autograph a pair of knives.
Mm-hmm.
Would you buy Hardy Brothers knives?
No thanks.
If you do, those are just decorative, right? You're not chopping up the lettuce and the tomatoes and the carrots for the salad with these custom Hardy Brothers knives, right?
I am staying as far away from those as possible.
There you go.
If someone has a bunch of custom knives in their house, I'm gonna be like, you know what? Custom stuff, sure. It was custom like skateboard deck or something like that. Nope. Uh, Custom guitar because Jeff is a player. I know that for sure. He plays guitar, so
Oh, very good.
yeah.
I got one over my right shoulder there. You could see
Right.
the message.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
If you got some Jeff Jarrett signature, that would be cool. Or
Oh.
Jeff Jarrett, Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Jarrett would make more sense since he uses the guitar for the guitar shots.
That's what I got mixed up with.
Right? I'd have to take out all of the bracing from the guitar and just loosen the strings and then have it be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But very good. That was just a neat thing I wanted to bring up there. AEW, are they getting Shelton Benjamin? Maybe Bobby Lashley? Is the Hurt Business going to AEW? Apparently, MVP debuted at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. Shelton Benjamin apparently joined him this week. What did you make of this? Did you see either of these as they happened?
Yeah. Last week's Dynamite was fantastic. It was their 50th anniversary. They didn't mess around. They had Daniel Bryanson, or Bryan Danielson, versus Okada. That's the big Japanese wrestler, and that was a banger in the main event. They did have what's his name? MVP come out.
Okay.
With Shelton Benjamin. That should be interesting. And Ricochet wrestled Will Ospreay in the opener, and that was really good. Really good. Yeah. Because you know how Ricochet can wrestle fast, and it was lots of fast, lots of athleticism, lots of speed.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd was into it. I'll say that much.
Very good. This is WrestleZone here, citing Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful. Sapp writes that Bobby Lashley, a former WWE champion, has an impending debut with AEW. He's saying that all three of them, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley, were in talks with AEW earlier in September. The deals had been nailed down a few weeks ago. So are you thumbs up or thumbs down to a potential Bobby Lashley run in AEW?
Thumbs up. Yeah.
I liked him in WWE. I thought he had a lot left. I was disappointed when suddenly he was dropped.
No, that was so confusing. And when they dropped him, or he didn't resign because it wasn't enough. I don't know if it wasn't enough or they decided to move go in a different direction, but I was like, wow, he's been great. Anytime they bring him out, they try to make him a heel, and when they tried to make him a heel, he was not over because he's a face. So the crowd would cheer him.
Yep.
So it's like you have an automatic cheer guy that everybody loves, that's huge, that can work. What are you doing? Why are you getting rid of this guy? Why would you keep... I mean, if you're going to trim the roster, there's at least a few guys on the top of my head. I'd be like, you wouldn't miss them if they got trimmed, right?
Too many baby faces at this point?
Yeah, too many baby faces. I don't know.
The opposite of what you had noted had been the more likely scenario in WWE recent history is having not enough baby faces who are really over and who can maintain that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but it's good news for the AEW, and it's good news to have Bobby Lashley there. I don't know how Shelton Benjamin's going to do. I know historically he's been good, but I don't know how he will actually do. So we'll see.
He wrestles that sort of high-flying style along with great amateur skills.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is there a place for someone like that in AEW?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll get in well with the rest of them, especially depending on who he's matched up with. But like JR likes to say, it's always good to have style versus style. And that's where you get the best matches. So he's going to bring a unique style, which will probably be helpful, a little bit more realistic than like you have the high-flying guys there. Maybe he slams one of the high-flying guys, and I say, yes, stop high-flying.
These are both guys with combat sport experience. Shelton Benjamin as an amateur wrestler.
Oh, yeah, Shelton Benjamin.
And Bobby Lashley as an MMA guy who won more often than he did not during his Bellator run.
Oh, yeah. Real deal.
Someone you had mentioned before, apparently Penta El Zero Miedo from the Lucha Brothers is still under contract to AEW. This comes to us also from Fightful. This is why there's been so much confusion. Where are these guys signed? Are we going to see them at all? He's still under contract with AEW. Do you think they're going to do anything with him, or is they just kind of doing sour grapes? That Penta and Rey Fenix can't move anywhere as a tag team yet.
So they were expected. So instead of cutting them and letting them go to WWE, they're going to let them sit out their contract.
It seems like it's rather complicated that one of them is still not yet expired. But what are they going to do with them? Have the Lucha Brothers been in any sort of storyline so far? Are they in any feuds?
No.
So there's nothing for them to wrap up, or there's no big storyline they got to finish up.
Seems strange to just sit on them.
If they reported a few months ago, time had been added to Penta's deal due to injury time in AEW. It's like injury time in soccer.
Yeah.
And Phoenix had substantially more.
Oh, maybe there was a misunderstanding with the way the contract was. Like, oh, my contract's up now. It's like, no, you have injury time. You owe us that. Interesting. Maybe they need to get paid, so they need to stay with the company too. Like, maybe that's part of injury time. Like, you owe us that.
Perhaps. I don't know enough about the behind-the-scenes business here, but this basically tells us why, there's been a little bit of hype on the interwebbies about these guys, but we haven't seen them debut anywhere. So there we go. You have been in their corner, pun intended.
I want to see them in WWE. Yeah, I love the move for them to go to WWE.
Okay.
If they go to WWE, here, I got one for you too. If they go to WWE, they should do pretty well there because WWE needs tag teams, and they were not that they're stale. They have had the tag team title several times in AEW. They can't do much more there. So push them over to WWE. It totally makes sense. And they should be right on the main roster. No questions asked.
Lashley and Shelton Benjamin were criminally underused in WWE. I will not disagree. John and I have been watching SmackDown again for just a shade over 2 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see a lot from Bobby Lashley. I don't remember hardly anything at all from Shelton Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
And those are guys I remember from years ago who could go, and I imagine they still can. I imagine they're not, a shell of their former selves. Bobby Lashley certainly looked like he was still near his prime.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I will not disagree there, the Fixer. And may they prove you correct in AEW that they had plenty left to perform.
For sure. We're always rooting for them, the wrestlers, to do well. So, yeah.
Speaking of someone who we hope can make it back, this also comes to us from WrestleZone. This is the last one I got for you. Kota Ibushi teases that he and Kenny Omega are tuned up for AEW, which will be soon. Kenny Omega's been recovering from a real serious injury that may or may not be wrestling related. It's diverticulitis. He underwent surgery for it. And he's been out of action since December. Ibushi went down with injuries of his own. He was sidelined with a right tibiofibular ligament tear and a lateral ligament complex injury in his right ankle following a match at Noah at the New Year 2024 on January 2nd. So whenever they start using really, really, really big words to describe people's injuries, I think it's serious. Unless it's Gorilla Monsoon telling me about the clavicle.
Mm-hmm.
What have you heard about these guys? I know you're a big Kenny Omega fan. What do you know about Kota Ibushi and what he had been doing in AEW before his injury?
I wonder what's going to happen here because I thought Kenny Omega was done wrestling or potentially done. He hasn't been on TV in years. I mean, he got stomped out by the Elite.
The New Elite, right?
He got beat up by the New Elite. And ever since then, he's just been off TV. And he was off that TV a lot before then because he was injured. So I don't think he's wrestled a match. I can't even think since last year, maybe.
It's got to be a year at this point.
Yeah. So
how about Kota Ibushi?
Do
you remember him having a decent run in AEW?
Let me make sure it is the right guy. Oh, Kota Ibushi. Oh, they did the I do remember this guy being his tag team partner. No, interesting. So they're going to come back and tag together.
Perhaps. I mean, if this is a current photo of these gentlemen, it was posted 6 days ago. So if this is a current photo of them working out and trying to get back in shape, all best to them.
For sure. They both would be valuable assets. Kota Ibushi, I don't know too much about, except for he looks like $1 million. So I really don't know too much about him.
Well, all best to them. We like hearing, these good positive stories of guys who want to keep wrestling, who make their way back from injury, get into shape and do it. And what was that, another chat there that came up on the screen? It's got to be painful for those injuries. Don't go away quick. Yeah, I imagine that a lot of these injuries, they never go away.
Yeah.
Like you repair them as best you can so you keep doing it, but it's probably the kind of thing where you feel it when you walk. If you have a knee torn, you feel it when you walk. Maybe you can get through a match with it, tape it up, put a brace on. But, at night you feel it when you walk, you feel it when you sleep, you feel it when you get up and down from a chair. If it's arms, there's always a little bit of twinge there. Yeah, I imagine, especially since wrestlers wrestle into their 40s, maybe even 50s. These guys, they're going to feel it. Everybody wrestles hurt. You try not to be injured, but sometimes the injury happens.
All right.
That's what I got for you. It's unseasonably warm. It's pathologically frugal. It's cheap heat.
All right.
We'll say it at exactly the same time.
I know. We'll time it.
We need to practice.
Yeah.
We need to practice.
We got to practice a little bit that one. 1, 2, 3. Cheap heat.
Not bad.
Not bad. I think if we do the 1, 2, 3, it'll be better. All right. Dom, I have to get up early tomorrow. So
I sort of do myself, yeah.
Yeah, so
it's a little after 11 o'clock here on the East Coast, here in southern New Jersey. It was an interesting early start. They're in Atlanta. It was a 6 p.m. start in Atlanta. What? I have not heard of that before.
Yeah. Ended up being better, especially because I have the early start, because I would have been doing the show after. We probably would have done the watch party. I guess we'll have to see if that would work one time. But yeah, so hey, we had a lot of great chats tonight. Another one coming through here. Oh, you tore your ankle ligaments. Oh.
Still hobbling around now. In college, I was playing volleyball, which is volleyball in a racquetball court. So you can use the walls and bounce the balls off them and stuff. I went up for some sort of a block near the net, came down, landed on the other guy's foot. He had landed like a split second before me. rolled my left ankle, and it's kind of fine by now. But I know if I started, for years after that, if I was playing a pickup game or something, my left ankle was always a little bit more prone to being re-injured. It never goes away.
Yeah.
I imagine it still is now. That my right ankle and my left ankle, they feel fine, but the left one is always going to be more prone to being hurt again.
Well, feel better, the Fixer. That sucks, man. Hoping you're okay. But go ahead and subscribe. Because guess what, the Fixer? You got time to kill. You're sitting down, right? Your ankle hurts. Subscribe to Don't Bury the Lead, my friend. And before we leave, want to thank some people here. So the Fixer, you have been great all night. Third man in the booth. I will give you the MVP tonight, man.
There you go.
4:20 a.m. on the UK, my man.
All right, I love it.
The Fixer. Go ahead, subscribe to us, and I'm so happy that you're in the UK.
I've been on a podcast twice as a guest for something non-wrestling related. One of the co-hosts is in New England here in Massachusetts in the U.S. The other host is in Old England. He is in the U.K. And it's a lot of fun. Yes, fantastic. We're going international. I love it, the Fixer. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in across the pond here. But let me tell you, thanks. All your chats were awesome. We're here every Saturday night, so if you ever want to hop in, come on and hop in. We will.
Or you can get us in the archive on the recording if it's just too late or too early for you in the UK. Subscribe to Don't Bury the Lead and watch us when it's convenient for you. Everybody out there, subscribing to the channel and visiting and going through our archive. That's what it's there for. It's on demand.
And
our archive lets you do it on your schedule.
And our friend out there on Twitch, they might still be here because I didn't see anybody drop. So,
yes.
Cody, thank you for hopping in. Really appreciate that as well. And some of your chats here. So, all right.
I'm going to go check out what you said, that there may have been some extracurricular activity after tonight's PLE.
Yeah. And Dom, as always, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun
tonight.
Enjoyed
it, my friend. This was a good experiment.
Yeah,
we'll have to do this again.
We'll run it back again, and we'll see each other next Saturday. So everyone, have a great rest of your